Adventure Team, my bad here. Coming in today with a knife overview of the Asymmetrical Chunk. That's probably the first time I've ever said asymmetrical without messing up. So, hooray for me. Oh my bad, figure out how to reverse finger flick this thing with no problem. And he found out how to thumb flick it without no problem. And then the slow roll is still a no-go. But that's okay. It's got wonderful flipping action. It's got awesome closing action. It's almost a guillotine, but not quite, because when I hit that lock bore release, you can see that the finger choil right there, whoop, thank God I got good pinky strength. That finger groove choil, it's not exactly a finger choil because I can't get my finger grip up in there like that without cutting myself on the blade, which I'll get to later. But the flipper tab is what I'm trying to say. Hits my thumbnail right there, then I get my thumbnail out of the way, and it's just smooth going down. Now, I was talking to Grumpy about this knife a little bit. He says that he thinks it's washers, and if it is washers, highly impressed by the action and the minimal blade play on the knife. It feels like it's washers, but he says he thinks it's, I mean, it feels like bearings, but he says he thinks it's washers. To me, it most definitely feels like bearings. I think I can see in there a little bit. Let's get the old flashlight out, check her out. This flashlight is the I1R2. This was donated to me by my really, really good friend King Raven of Shield Arms. Let me see if I can see that in there. I'm gonna have to agree with Grumpy, man. Those are washers. That's phosphor bronze washers, man. I'm highly impressed with the action of the Asymmetrical Chunk. Now, the Asymmetrical Chunk comes in with a price tag of about $180 to $185, which is not bad for the materials you're getting. You're getting a good chunk of S35VN. I'm not exactly sure of what the dimensions, because you know I'm not a dimension channel or a weight channel. I'm not going to go over all that stuff in my overviews. I'm going to tell you what I've done with the knife. But since this was not my knife, I did not take this one out into the field. I did not take this one to work. I did not beat up another man's knife. I would never ever do that without serious permission. What I mean by serious permission is the guy tells me, please go take it out. And I've had guys and gals, hey, go take my knife and go beat it up and go do everything you can to it. I want to see what it can do. I've had people say that. So I will do it if you specifically ask me to do it. I will not do it otherwise. Especially with a knife that's bordering on the $200 price mark. As I said, this is about $180 to $185. I think he said it was $182 specifically. But that comes in titanium backspacer. It's got extremely good hardware. I'm not going to take it apart, but I believe I see some T6 and the rest would be T8. T6 isn't that big of a deal on the pivot, but everything else, I'll be honest with you, I prefer T8. So the pivot is definitely T8. I'm at T6. The pivot and the detent ball is T6. The rest is T8. And I like how they did their hardware, where the T8 slides all the way down, so there's better risk, there's less risk of it slipping out or warping or anything like that of the hardware. There's more surface area to grip on that. I like that a lot more. That's an extremely good idea by Asymmetrical. I like how the entire bit slips in there to be taken apart. But I'm not going to take apart Grumpy's knife. Let him do that if he wants to do it. But This is Doug Pinkerton design. Asymmetrical is a part of 3 other brands that I'm not familiar with, but I need to get a lot more familiar with them, and especially after seeing this chunk. I'm extremely impressed with it. I've done 5 or 6 unboxings and cut packages and everything with it, and it's a slicer. It's not much of a penetrator, but with a broad belly and a big knife like that, you're not looking into that. This is basically a big hunk of slice. You're gonna be able to take cardboard or whatever and just slice the crap out of it. Let me show you. You see how it just goes through that box, no problem. Big old slicer. That's all that is. Big old chunk of slice. Now in the package, I see it's got a chamois cloth that goes with it. I always like it when they put those in there. And it's got its own asymmetrical taco pouch that goes with it as well. I don't know about the other information that may or may not have came with the knife. If there was more information, Grumpy still has it. You really, to do the reverse flick, have to keep your fingers off that lock bar. So what I do is I put my 2 fingers right there on the lock bar relief cut and on the pocket clip on the outside of it. The rest of my fingers just kind of go out, and then let her fly. So Grumpy was saying that you really got to get used to the thumb studs to use those properly, and it took me about 30 minutes of fidgeting with it after the first video that I've done with it to figure that out. So it's not extremely difficult if you know, an ignorant redneck like me can figure it out. S35VN, y'all know that I have no problem with S35VN. It's a really good median blade steel. I like the properties of it. It's tough enough for me, it holds an edge enough for me, and it's extremely stainless enough for my uses, as I am a guy that uses a lot of tool steels and a lot of non-stainless. And even if you are stainless, the problem I have with stainless is I'm sitting there thinking, oh, it's stainless, it won't rust. I rust M390 because I have that. I'll just put it away for months and won't figure it out, and I'll pull it out and it's got little rust marks on it. Now tool steel, I pull that out every month and I give it a good oiling. I maintain all my tool steel extremely well. So that's the reason why I prefer tool steel. If I get something else, I'm just not thinking about it and I don't care. And that's not a good thing. The box is pretty decent. It's not the best in the world that I've ever seen, but it does the job. It's good to go. I'm looking to find an asymmetrical chunk now. I want to see what it can really do. You might have part 2 overview of this coming up here pretty soon. But before all that, I gotta get rid of some knives and make some room for more inventory. So we might be getting on a knife sale here pretty soon. But that's it for me and this overview. I appreciate it. Y'all please like, share, and subscribe. Comment on my bad's videos. Tell all my bad what you like to see me do. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.